Good morning, Ms. Tembisile Precious Mahua.
Good
You are
morning.
most welcome to Parliament.
Thank you.
Thank you for applying to serve on the next NYDA board. Please feel relaxed. This is your Parliament. We are the Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. I'm here with honourable members of the Portfolio Committee. They will introduce themselves once they start interacting with you. I want to start off by asking whether you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and why you want to serve on an NYDA board.
Thank you very much. Greetings, honorable members. Sanbonani. I am Tembisile Mahua, all the way from the City of Peace, Ekurhuleni. I'm a lawyer by profession, and I have an LLB from the University of South Africa. I also have a degree in policymaking from the Thabo Mbeki School, African School, and I'm completing my master's degree in international human rights law. I would say my story actually began, as such a child. I used to be one of those jajarach. I don't know if you all understand that jajarach word. Children, and I would always advocate for something or speak about something, and it was always just been my passion. So I then joined the Youth Crime Prevention Desk at around 14, 15. Which then began my activism journey, and it's been an amazing and eventful journey since. And I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different stakeholders and partners throughout my career. I train students currently. I train students, I train the community. I am very big on empowerment, women empowerment, youth empowerment, but most importantly, advocating for people that have no voice and actually creating an impact. I truly and strongly believe that I am a person that was born to advocate and was born to serve. So it is a passion of mine, but more than anything, it is a calling, and it is a calling that I truly look upon and take within. I also so some of the organizations that I've worked with are the Commercial Trust through the NYDA TP organization. I've worked with the Thabo Mbeki School as well in training. Now this is in training the community and perhaps school as well, the UNISA College of Law, and a lot of various organizations internationally and nationally. I have worked with the UNISA Law Clinic as a candidate attorney, and it is at the Law Clinic we provide free legal services to the indigent and people that cannot afford legal services. And through that journey, I've been able to, in the 2 years in that position, I have 100% of my cases in favor of my clients, which are people that without the assistance of the UNISA Law Clinic would not have received adequate legal representation in court or otherwise. I am also very active in different sectors. I participate in traditional and indigenous sectors as well, where I actually am a Zulu maiden, Kindombi. And I mentor a lot of young women in those spaces in KwaZulu-Natal and also throughout. And it is where I ensure my participation in women empowerment and in youth empowerment broadens up and reaches the people that really need it the most. I would like to join the NYDA because I believe that I have a whole lot to offer. I believe that the young people of South Africa deserve a leader that can actually take them forward and that can actually put plans to motion. I believe, one of my favorite quotes is that, don't tell me what you can do, show me, because we talk too much and there's not a lot of action, and I'm an action lady, or I'm an action girl, and I believe in action, and I believe in actually seeing the change that you're advocating for within the people that you see. And I think that my track record, not only in the legal industry, but as well as in the community, speaks exactly to that.
Thank you so much. I forgot to say at the beginning, you've got 40 minutes for the interview, so it will allow you about 3 minutes to answer a question from an honourable member. Each honourable member will interact with you. We will start with Honourable Lonzi and then go to Honourable Tsotset.
No, thank you very much, Tembisile. It's very good to see young, bright, black females pursue institutions of this nature that must contribute to changing the lives of young people in South Africa in all corners. My name is Sihlelonzi, Member of Parliament from the Economic Freedom Fighters. There's a trust deficit about the NYDA in as far as the majority of young people in South Africa are concerned. And one would come up with various reasons as to where that trust deficit would come. But one of them is that the relationship that typically the board members and the executive of the NYDA have with the governing party, the ANC, and its youth league structures, the ANC Youth League. Now, in your opinion, or in your view, as a potential board member, how would we regain that trust that has been lost? Because majority of young people in South Africa are of the view that if you are not a card-carrying member of a particular organization, you are never going to get funding from the NYDA. You are never going to get support from the NYDA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I actually believe that is one of the biggest challenges that we face, because the NYDA is supposed to be accessible to the young people and every young person of the country. I have read some incidents where reports say that some members of the board would attend the NYDA boards with political party regalia, and I think that is one of the things that must strictly be advocated against, number one, so that the confidence of young people of South Africa can come through. But more than anything, you respect the entity that you're part of, because it represents the young people of South Africa as a whole and not specifically of an organization. And perhaps the transparency as well and the participation of young people should actually be heard, because this is what young people are saying. Young people should be respected in what they're saying. Therefore, I would ensure that in everything that I'm part of. I mean, South Africa is a free country, and every board member can be part of any political party that they would like to be part of. However, when you come to servicing the young people of the country, it's important that you take them serious and you take the NYDA serious as well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mahua. Honorable Sotetsi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sister Mbisile. I'm not going to ask you anything that is untested. I'll just ask you to elaborate your understanding of the functions of the NYDA in terms of the Act, as well as how do you, in your view, think they must find practical expression in all sections of society and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a question. I like that question. And I don't want to answer it as a lawyer, and start quoting sections here and there. But the NYDA is a creature of statute, and in accordance to Section 2 of the NYDA Act, 2008, as amended in 2024, speaks of the objections of the NYDA, which speaks to an NYDA, my apologies, that is going to implement, monitor, design, and initiate programs that are going to advance the youth of this country. It also speaks to the NYDA that will ensure that it consults and it brings together stakeholders that are going to partner in ensuring the development of young people in this country. Your second question was, how do I practice it, if I'm not mistaken, or put it to practice within the NYDA. So what I would then do is, I'm a big stakeholder relations. I think in my introduction, I did point out the different and various stakeholders that I've worked with and I've partnered with. And in ensuring the objectives of the NYDA are properly executed, I would consult the most important people, the young people of the country, consult the department as per the Act as well as consult several stakeholders as well within the stipulated Act, and perhaps also beyond, in order to ascertain and to develop programs that are going to be youth-centered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Leklape. Oh, my apologies. Did you want?
In your own assessment, I'm Khosi Letlape, an alternate member of the committee. In your own assessment, do you think the NYDA performs its mandate efficiently? If yes, how so? If not, what are the shortcomings and what are you proposing to strengthen them? And please provide practical examples.
Thank you very much, and that's a very good question. I would say no. The NYDA does not fulfill its mandate to its full potential. And I say full potential because the NYDA is a structure that covers the youth of the entire South Africa. But as a young person that represents youth in rural areas and in unrepresented areas, I'm at the rare receiving end of not seeing the NYDA at work. Yes, I'm from Gauteng, and yes, I'm from the cities. However, I really go into the deep rurals. You know, if we have to sleep on the floor, we're sleeping on the floor. But also speaking on experience, I've invited the NYDA on several programs that I've hosted in rural areas, and they've not come through, and there's not been a response as well. So for me, that speaks of lack of interest when dealing with rural areas or rural areas or developing areas, and this is a big challenge because this means that young people in rural areas are left behind and are not part of the progression of this country.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mowa. Can I hand over to Honourable Chauke Adonis?
Thank you very much. My name is Tsogofatso Megan Chauke Adonis, a member of this portfolio committee, and we welcome you, and I hope you have a seamless interview process. Now, if you are to be appointed into the NYDA as a board member, how will you ensure the successful implementation and best practice of policies that speak to youth development through your experience and your knowledge as well?
Thank you very much. I love that question because it also speaks to one of my qualifications, which is policy making for Africa's development, which I did with the Thabo Mbeki School. And that question specifically speaks of monitoring and evaluation, which is also part of the... Did I surpass my time? Which is also part of the mandate of the NYDA or its objective as provided for by the Act. So this is where you ensure that you go to the communities and you actually speak on issues that they are facing. And most importantly, and one of the things that I've seen has been lacking, not only from the NYDA but our government, is that we go to the rural communities in Limpopo, in KZN, speaking English and twanging. And these are people that will not understand you and will not be able to engage with you on a policy that directly affects them. So there are issues that hinder policy development, that hinder policy implementation in our communities that we actually have not addressed. And one of the things that I will do, first and foremost, make it applicable to the people that it's supposed to serve. I actually train. I did mention that I train with the Thabo Mbeki School, and one of my projects there is, or one of my colleagues' projects is training indigenous leaders on the Act. On the Traditional Courts Act. And this is where we go to the community and we go to the leaders and we actually explain what the Act is about without using legal jargon and without, confusing the facts, so that they understand what actually is the Act about and how is the Act going to serve them and how are they supposed to implement the Act in the community, because these are people that are supposed to implement this Act, but they don't know about it. Why? Because we go there speaking about sections and speaking in Latin languages that they do not relate to, that they do not understand. So in ensuring that our communities are properly represented in policy making and advocacy, I'll do what I've actually done before. I go to the community and ask them about policies that are actually including them. I also have this project that I do in rural communities where we go to the young girls and we sit with them and we speak about a policy as if it is on TikTok, and they actually understand it more and relate to it better. So, oh, is this what it's saying? I thought it was, a bit big and, ambiguous. So you bring it back to the people and so that they understand adequately and properly what the policy is about.
Thank you so much. Honourable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, Ms. Mahua. My name is Angel Kanyile and I'm a member of this committee. Ms. Mahua, can you please tell us what are the key best attributes of a NYDA board member, and what, in your own understanding, are the roles and responsibilities of the NYDA board? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I will first start with the Act, of course, which gives rise to the board, as per Section 8 of the NYDA Act as amended. And it speaks to the board that is there to implement policies that have been adopted by the NYDA, or to speak about and advocate for them in the board in the board meetings. It also speaks on the appointment of the CEO, but most importantly, and what I would like to discuss, is the fiduciary duties that board members have. It's also in Section 66 of the Companies Act, which speaks to the roles and responsibilities that the board has, which also would speak to your King document, of course, King 4 document when it comes to public entities, but also it speaks of the implementation of the PFMA in ensuring that the finances of the NYDA are properly and adequately handled. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Mabel?
Thank you, Chair. I'm Honorable Kwekana, also a member of this portfolio committee. I'll just go straight to the question. Mahua, can you share with the panel your understanding on the objectives of the National Youth Policy and how the board could aid with its implementation?
Thank you. No, that's a good one. I think with the G20 coming up, presidency coming up, it speaks directly to that and the implementation thereof. So when we speak of the implementation of the NYDA duties, perhaps we speak of, sorry, my apologies. May you please repeat the last part of your question?
Can you share with the panel your understanding on the objectives of the National Youth Policy and how the board could aid with its implementation?
Thank you. My apologies for that. So the National Youth Policy is a framework that speaks on youth development within the country. So it has a 2030 agenda, which speaks to the economic empowerment of young people. It speaks to their educational skills, to education and skills development within young people. It also speaks to the mental health, or the health rather, and then I like to focus on mental health, as this is one of the aspects that is really and strongly speaking towards the young people of this generation and currently, and how I would ensure the implementation of the strategy. Perhaps also it's part of the NYDA, objectives as part of the Act to implement policies and frameworks that are going to advance the development of young people as a whole, and looking at some of the aspects that I've mentioned of the NYP, I would speak of perhaps economic empowerment and how we can ensure that young people are able to be economically empowered to get jobs, which is one of the biggest issues that we're facing in South Africa. We look at the ocean economy, the young people that are living within or around the ocean. How can they participate and lead? I like young people leading in the ocean economy. We speak of the gig economy, one of the most important ones that young people are in currently. Young people, we speak of the DJing, but most importantly, that we've not spoken about, and I think we really need to tap into, we speak of social media and its capital. There was a big issue when TikTok was closing its doors, or they were banning TikTok in the US. People didn't really understand why people were crying so much. This is because TikTok is an employment mechanism to the people in the USA, because it actually pays them. And content creators in the USA are able to pay for their fees, to pay for their houses and everything, mortgages and everything, because they have content and they market themselves in that way. But when you look at the African landscape, TikTok is not paying the content creators in Africa, and I believe that this is one aspect that the NYDA can lead, not only nationally but internationally, in advocating for the young people. I mean, it's not only young people, but in advocating for the young people economically, and to be able to be economically empowered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Welcome. My name is Jasmine Peterson, and I'm a member of this committee. My question would be, what are the 5 policy pillars that underpin the NYP 2030, and which the cross-cutting theme across the pillars now select a policy priority listed in the NYP 2030 and identify what has been proposed to address the priority area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that's a bit of a difficult one to identify only one when the issues are really of paramount importance in the country. But it's some of the ones that I've actually mentioned before, which speaks to empowerment, economic empowerment and job creation, it speaks to mental. So it's basically what I've just answered. But getting into the second part of your question, I would perhaps take the job creation and economic empowerment. And this is because some of the issues that we're speaking about, including mental health, derive from young people not being able to pay, rent, from young students not being able to pay their fees. It derives from young people that are not able to study at home because there's load reduction or there's load shedding. So it's practical issues that the young people are facing of this country. Of this country, my apologies. I think I was loud enough. Of this country, and it would address several issues, although it would not perhaps speak to the deeply rooted issue, because I like to go deep and to actually analyze an issue so that we may be able to find a solution. But I believe that it would provide a better or more improved, not better, but a more improved stats with regards to alcohol or substance abuse as well amongst young people. It's really, really high, and no one is saying anything about that. No one is addressing it from government to private sector to the NYDA, and young people are perishing because of the abuse of substance abuses in the community. So I would really speak to job creation, and I would also take it perhaps a bit further with, I spoke about the ocean economy, I spoke about the gig economy, I speaking about AI as well, speaking about the food economy, and, tackling as well the SDG goals of, food and poverty as well, and also ensuring that young people of this country are brought not only on a continental stage, but also a global one, because there's a lot of opportunities as well in those areas that are there, and as well as agriculture. And one thing that I've loved with the curriculum change in South Africa in schools is that now agriculture is actually offered in schools. And for me, that was, really good. And I said, yeah, this is where I would like to see our country going, because it speaks directly to food security and SDG goals for food and poverty in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mahula. Honourable Spies.
Hi, Ms. Mahula. I'm Eleanor Spies, and I'm a member of this committee. You've spoken quite elaborately on a number of issues and have given us great insight. And you very well know that young people face a lot of challenges. One such challenge is the issue of sexual and reproductive health. So my question to you is, what are the key sexual and reproductive health challenges faced by young South Africans?
Thank you very much for that question, and I'll be very practical about it as well. I mentioned that I am part of, I'm a Zulu maiden, and if you can actually check the stats, teenagers and young people in KZN are the ones that teenage pregnancy in KZN is still at its highest compared to the country. And you ask yourself, but there's practices such as these. Why is there continuous rise of teenage pregnancies? And I will not even touch the rise of HIV and AIDS in this day and age. I still think that there's so many programs that have been implemented by government, by private sectors, by NGOs, that speak directly to these issues, but I still don't understand. Perhaps we need to be very intensive in our advocacy, and maybe we are not reaching the people, and perhaps it will also speak to that issue of language as well, to say what is actually the barrier. It speaks to monitoring and evaluation of the policies that we have. What is the barrier that we have that is actually keeping people from perhaps receiving the information that is actually out there from departments and from all these different stakeholders? But one thing to address it as well, I believe that NYDA is the foundation of youth advancement and youth empowerment in this country. And if we're able to see the NYDA as a foundation, we will be able to see that everything will then come in, and the NYDA is the focal point of advocacy for young people in skills development, in all the issues in unemployment and in the issues that young people are facing. So speaking to the sexual reproductive health of young girls, I said I'm going to be very specific, of young girls as I mentor them. I'm also part of the Adolescent Girls program with the Graka Marshall Trust, the NYDA organization, and this is where we speak directly on that. And it's part of the solutions and enterprises that I'm actually part of currently that are dealing with sexual reproduction and health. Another issue that I've found to be are the illegal abortions, and this is due to various concerns. It can be from the inaccessibility of free clinics and free hospitals, because when young people go to the hospitals, even though the law speaks on them being rightfully there, they're still berated and they still talked. They are shamed, or they are going to be shamed into the processes perhaps of abortion, or of deciding on their reproductive health. And this is one of the biggest issues that we have. And perhaps upskilling and training the nurses is an important, the nurses and the hospital staff. I can't just place it on one person. The hospital staff and the community as a whole, in knowing that this is an issue for all of us. And it's an issue facing young people, but it's an issue for all of us, because young people are in the homes of the elderly. And sometimes when you speak of sexual reproduction health, it's frowned upon. There are communities that you can't even openly say sexual reproductive, because you're teaching our child wrong things. So it's the advocacy and perhaps the way within which you negotiate or you communicate, your advocacy. I think we need to also teach ourselves, and as institutions that are community-based, to know how to approach certain members of community and how to navigate around ensuring that our message is sent to the people that truly need it. Thank you very much, honourable members.
Thank you so much. Honourable Shalongo.
Thank you, and you're welcome, Miss. Thank you. And okay, I'm Honorable Fisani Shavangu. Yeah, you can take your water.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You spoke about the sexual reproduction of the young people in South Africa, but how can the sexual and reproductive health education be improved for young people in South Africa? According to your knowledge, what support services are available? I know you touch on some, but what more that is available for young people in South Africa to address the sexual reproductive health needs?
Thank you very much. So I'll speak about a practical example as well, another one. One of the projects that I'm very much passionate about is bullying in schools. And I go around the whole country, my apologies, advocating against bullying. And, we teach students be a buddy, not a bully. And some of the challenges that we face, because we would only look at certain aspects of the program. So we'd only look at the bullying aspects of the program and perhaps the mental health aspect of it, but we would not really touch on the aspect of sexual reproduction health. And when you interact with the students, you actually see that, there's actually some education that's needed, but their teachers as well, it forms part of their curriculum through the LO, but more and intensively than the hospitals are also part of the solution making or solution in driving a change, in driving the educational in driving the educational narrative through schools. I believe that another one that we can actually have is the mobile clinics, which would go especially to the rural areas that do not have access to such services and are frowned upon. That would ensure privacy, because in the rural areas, the nurse working in the clinic is your neighbor, and this brings a lot of fear to the young people that would like to know even more, not even just doing anything, but just would like to know even more, because some topics, as I said, are considered taboo. So in ensuring that there's education and in ensuring that there's development within that sector, NGOs, groups, there's an organization called Young Women of Africa, which I'm also part of, which advocates for the reproductive health of young girls, and we also speak of period poverty and access to sanitary towels. And we've partnered with an organization or a company that actually sponsors us with the sanitary towels to go with them. And now this is a continental program where we go to different countries and we integrated it within our back to school campaign. And we speak of period poverty, and we speak of the accessibility of sanitary towels. I think the fact that we're still speaking about it once again, and it speaks to what I was saying, that I don't like to speak a lot, I like to act. And we seem to always be in a state of speaking and speaking and speaking. And these are issues that are affecting young people at the present moment. Young people are using papers during their menstrual cycle. What are we saying to the dignity of the African child? What are we saying to, the rights of the African child? They're still not looked at. And perhaps as part of the NYDA, it's part of the things that I will champion strongly as well. And I also believe that I've got partners and stakeholders that will support me in this journey, because I truly do believe, members of parliament, that you can never do anything alone. In order to have an effective and progressive change, you need everyone to be part of the plan and the solution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Last question, Honorable Pulwani.
Thanks very much. Thobela Mema Hua.
Thobela?
Yes, you're speaking to Honorable Polwani. I'm a member of this committee. I hear you are saying you don't want to speak a lot. You want the implementation, is what you are saying.
Indeed.
My question is, how will you ensure good governance in the National Youth Development Agency if you recommended for the appointment to this board?
Thank you very much for the question. I would like first, can I just comment, I loved when you said Thobela. I love South Africa. Every time I go out of the country, I always greet in our languages, in our 9 languages, 11, because I truly love the diversity of South Africa. So I'm actually learning sign language currently as well. I only know 6 languages, so I'm still learning, but I love the Thobela parts. My apologies. And in answering your question, in ensuring good governance speaks of transparency, accountability, and first and foremost, I love this process, and I loved how there was comments from the public, and we actually heard from the public what they have to say about the board that this committee has appointed. Another good thing is that these interviews, as nerve-wracking as it can be, are public, and members of society are able to interact and participate online or through virtual platforms in hearing what these candidates are actually here to say to us. These are people that will represent us, and, we voted for them or we commented for them and we nominated them, but what are the plans that are there to ensure that this person is the right candidate? It also speaks of accountability, because should I form part of the board, when I come back to this committee once again to report back, the committee has to hold me accountable on the things that I said during my interview, to say, but how far are you with implementing 1, 2, 3, 4? Because this was what you had sold us on. I think that's one of the things that are lacking in our government, and no one wants to ask the questions, and because I don't know, I always say, and I'm always berated on this, that some of our ministers have become celebrities. You take pictures with them and you move, but where are the proper questions asked? When are we actually going to hold people in leadership responsible or accountable for the things that they are speaking about? It also speaks of equity. It speaks of equity speaks of transparency as well. I spoke about transparency. And it speaks of good governance and ethics as well. And ethical leaders, one that we really and truly need in this country. And answering also Honorable Sihlelonzi's question was that how are you going to ensure that the name of the NYDA is brought out from the grace, and it's through ethical leadership. That's the one most important thing, because once you're ethical, you'll be able to effectively and without issue speak on issues that actually matter to the young people and go to young people and account on the issues that you said you're going to account to. And perhaps one of the things that it speaks of public participation, and one fault that I've identified is that we like to go to the communities knowing how to solve their problems without asking what the problems they're facing first. We go to a community to teach a specific skill because we are saying we're developing you and we're advancing your struggle, but you didn't necessarily ask them at first, what skill would you like to be empowered on? I think that's a very important thing. I know as a lawyer, and I told you during my trainings, I would go to a training perhaps asked to speak on divorce and the Divorce Act. And when you get there, everyone is struggling with maintenance. So how is the Divorce Act going to be applicable to people that are struggling with maintenance? So when it comes to good governance, when we speak of actually consulting people, we need to consult people and, know what they are saying and know what their solutions are. People that are living in that community definitely know the solutions to their problems. And I think we need to respect that and observe that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mahua. Is there anything else that you would like to comment on or perhaps ask us any questions before we bid you farewell?
I'd like to perhaps comment. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My interview was actually scheduled to be later today, and then there was just a change. And I say this because there's a young community in KZN, there's a young school, and young girls and boys that I mentored that actually wanted to tune in and wanted to stay after school to actually watch the proceedings, because this to them it's no. When young girls and boys in the community still are happy because they see Umlung, you must understand the magnitude of me being in this parliament here today and addressing you. So they'll definitely watch the recording, but I am eternally grateful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for shortlisting me and seeing me capable to be part of this short. I almost said the panel. To be part of this shortlist, and I truly appreciate it. And not just for me, I speak for every person that I represent, from student in university to the young person in the rural areas that does not have access, because they would not be watching this on their phones. They're watching it through the principal's laptop and his network, because they do not have access. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm truly grateful. The work that you do is quite important, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Mahua. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing us to interview you earlier today. And please do make that allowance for those learners to be able to watch your interview. Really, thank you so much for your time and your passion, and for the work that you do in your community, and in particular for the empowerment of young girls and women. We are eternally grateful, and thank you for coming to Parliament this morning, and we hope that you'll have safe travels home. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Honourable members, a 5-minute break.